Welcome to Assault, Learn and Play, Part 6.4, Chapter 9.6.6, Movement Actions, Part 4, Minefields. So, let us talk about minefields. If specified in a scenario setup, players have the ability to lay minefields. Minefields are used to delay and redirect enemy units. When crossing a minefield, also this can reduce or destroy enemy units. There are two types of mines in the Assault game system: anti-personnel mines, APM, and anti-tank mines, ATM. APM are effective versus infantry and artillery units. ATM are effective versus vehicles. Minefields are represented by double-sided minefield markers. Any hex containing a minefield marker is treated as if it is a minefield for the purpose of 9.6.6.2, processing minefields. All rules regarding setup and processing are described in the following chapter. Placing the minefields. Unless otherwise stated in the scenario description, minefields are laid out during game preparation and before placing the units. To place the minefields, the player takes the number of type of minefield markers indicated in the scenario description. In addition, 4 players get the same number of dummy markers. For example, if a scenario description states 4 APM and 1 ATM, then the player takes 5 dummy markers too. In total, the player can then place 10 minefield markers. After the selection, the player places all minefield markers with the hidden side up, following any restrictions to set out in the scenario description. Make sure that the opponent cannot see which marker is a dummy or a real minefield. As previously stated, any hex containing a minefield marker is treated as if it is a minefield for the purpose of 9.6.6.2, processing minefields. It is important to know the following rules for placing and using mines. Only 1 minefield marker can be placed per hex. Anti-tank mines cannot be placed in buildings. The effect of mines always applies to the entire hex, which means if you have a road through a tree alley, then every part of this hex is under the effect of the mines. Mines cannot be placed in hex with fortifications or obstacles. Minefields cannot be crossed with fast action. The stacking limit for minefields is 1. Moving through your own units is not allowed. In this case 9, nor is close combat possible in the minefield. Transport vehicles, loaded or unloaded, cannot cross a hidden minefield. Minefield markers stay on the hex till game end or effects remove them. APM mines have no effect on vehicle units. Artillery is wrong, I'm sorry for this. ATM mines have no effect on infantry units. Friendly minefields have no effect on friendly units. So let us build up the minefield as an example. We learned we have the scenario description states we have 4 markers anti-personnel mines and we have 1 anti-tank mines. Therefore you take additional 5 dummy markers which are blank at the hidden side. So you can flip all this and you see, oh, there could be a minefield. And we decided for the design of the game, we decided to keep it easy and simple, and so we have a designer's note added which states that reconnaissance was usually carried out in preparation for missions. Assessment, more or less accurate, were made from the results of reconnaissance missions. This also includes the belief that a minefield that there may be there or the detection of actual minefields. This is exactly what our minefield markers simulate. The player's troops can estimate where mines would be advantage for the defenders. Nevertheless, players must first find out if a minefield marker means an actual minefield is present in the hex or not. That was the idea behind our minefield system. So you have dummies and you have hot minefields. And then we can think as a player, I think the US player is now on the move and he says, okay, where is it good for an anti-personnel mine? So I think in front of the bunker inside this rocky would be a nice thing to have on. And to bring to bring the infantry not to this good defending ground, we can place, of course, here some kind of minefield. And I do not want to have this building set with a machine gun, and of course this brush gives cover, just put mines in. Then we have one anti-tank mine, and I think it's a good position to bring it somehow here. And then I use the dummy markers to cover my hot mines, and the opponent does not know exactly where my hot mines are, and I try to bring him in front of my bunker, because I want to say do not flank, and I want you to have you in front of my guns. Then after this, the player of course does this hidden, so nobody knows where is the hot stuff. And so I have now my minefield declared, and everybody is not sure, oh, where is now the hot mine. So how to process a minefield? A unit which wants to move into a hex containing a minefield marker or leave a hex containing an actual minefield will automatically attempt to scout their way through and out it. Move into the minefield. Detection roll. First of all, the active player declares that a unit wants to move into a marked hex. This unit has to be activated with normal action and is placed into the minefield hex. The active player flips the minefield marker to the unhidden side. If the marker is a dummy, the active unit can continue its action. The dummy marker gets removed from the game board. If the marker is a minefield marker, it stays with the unhidden side up on the hex. If the mine affects that unit type, infantry, artillery or vehicles, the active player rolls a d6 to determine if the unit is able to detect and identify the mines before hitting them or not. Use the table below to determine this attempt. If the roll was successful, the unit scouted the mines and managed to get inside the hex without loss. The minefield is now considered as identified. If the roll was unsuccessful, the unit got hit by the mines. The minefield is now considered as identified, or as an unhidden minefield. The inactive player takes the minefield attack dice and rolls the damage caused by the mines. The active player has only the defense die indicated in the table. Depending on the result, the damage is determined with the help of the following table. Leaving the minefield. If a unit is attempting to leave the hex with an identified or unhidden minefield, it uses the same process as it did to enter the hex, with a scouting roll, etc. If unsuccessful, it does move out to the hex, but sustains another attack from the minefield. In addition, for this leaving minefield scouting roll, you can take a look to the modifier table and you see it's an unhidden minefield, so it has a +1, which makes it better because they know they are in a minefield. Important. If a unit is in a minefield, is forced to fall back by dice result. It retreats from the field but automatically suffers another attack from the minefield. So I will showcase this at the tabletop simulator. Okay, we will now showcase how minefields are working. I have here an attack of German units to the bunker area. And first of all, I want to bring my support weapon into position to this building. Nevertheless, there is a marker of a minefield and I have no engineers or anything with me, or a command card which can probably identify in front this minefield. I have to take the risk moving in. Moving into that building costs me 2 movement points. My machine gun has 2 movement allowance. I will do a normal action to move in. So I say, okay, I want to move in here in the hex, and I have to flip this marker. Okay, I see an anti-personnel mine, which is now unhidden, and the process begins. First of all, I have to do a detection roll using this table on the right lower side. Infantry units have a d6, a base value of identifying a minefield, with a 5+. If I have some modifiers, like my unit is a scout unit, I would get +1. If I'm engineer with mine detection gear, +2. If it's a known minefield, it would have been +1. I have no command card forces to effect, and I'm not in a fallback, so I have to roll on a 5+. And in this case I failed to have a 5+, which means the minefield strikes to my unit. Therefore I take the second table unit inside the minefield. It's an infantry unit, and you see the minefield attack dice are a yellow and a green one. So I grab a green one and a yellow attack die here, and the minefield just strikes. The opponent player rolls, and there is no damage so far. I would have had only green one for defense. So if we reroll now a second time, I have a hit and a suppression, so I have a green one to defend with my unit. So I roll now nothing, which means I have to take a look to the damage table below. I have one hit symbol which deals 1 damage to my infantry, so this is a 2-step unit. So I have flipped to 50% casualties, and then I have a suppressed symbol, which means my unit is stuck in the minefield. Okay, I can live with it because I wanted to go into this building, but I am suppressed, so I'm not able to perform any more action. That was how this is working for this infantry unit. And then, okay, we skip the US turn action, and I will activate my Panzer 3J. He wants to move directly via this minefield because it costs too much time to move around. He have a movement allowance of 3, and I want to go 1 hex and a second hex in the minefield. It has to flip here, and it's an anti-tank mine. Same procedure as before. I have to scout. Artillery or vehicle takes notice of a minefield with a 6+. I have no modifier, so it's really hard to detect this in front of me. Again, a fail, and the minefield strikes with a green die. Oh, and strikes a critical hit. I have only a blue to defend, which cause serious trouble. I have nothing defended, so let's see the effect. The effect is +1 damage and immobilized. So I have the 4-step unit. I will take a damage marker to mark this 25% damage here, and the vehicle is immobilized, so I do need an immobile marker, which means this unit is stuck inside the minefield and has no possibility to go further. And we have again 1 damage, so this unit gets flipped to 50% and it's immobile, which is a hard punch from that minefield on the road, but it is like it is. I tried to go in the risk. So we had this important note regarding a fallback during or being in a minefield. We can simulate this. For example, these rifles are firing on that machine gun in that house. They got a suppression result. They are suppressed, so now this got flipped to a fallback. So they are forced to do a fallback, and this means the minefield strikes to that unit because they are humming through the minefield back. So the minefield can beat again with this dice, and the unit has of course a green to defend, and we will see no bad luck for them. They got 1 damage and again 1 damage, so this machine gun team got eliminated, hit by hurrying through that minefield. So you see, it's important to know if you get a fallback, you are forced to beat with the mines again because they are hurrying throughout to the mines without taking care about what is happening around. So that's so far for the minefields. Let us go to the next part.